So what it means to be running tipless on a Hydroforce. Here's your average Hydroforce assembly. Here's a jug. These are the new jugs, which I wish they made. I wish Hydroforce made a 7-quart jug. This thing is super sturdy, and I like this recessed part on here to hold your handle there. You can probably get away from using the Velcro strap, which is kind of a pain. It never seemed to last, but that sits in there real nice. I like that. I like that. Anyhow, these are some nice clean little acorn strainers. Not quite acorn, but I'm not sure who makes those, but simple. So here's the deal. Here's your DEMA valve. This is the adjustable one, which are crap. Don't ever buy these things. They don't last. The wheel corrodes. You can't even turn it without vice grips, and you never really know where you're at unless you can figure out calculus and Latin into heartbeat. So, put that there. There's your meter. If you take that meter out, well, for one thing, look at the hole. That thing is going to clog if something gets through that screen. Well, this thing doesn't focus that well. Anyways, that's a 8-to-1 meter. If you take that out, you can see how much larger that hole is. So you have less interruption from heat, far less chance of it to clog. There's another one without it. When we use a 7-quart sprayer and we do a bucket test, we get between 8 and 9 gallons, which is accurate enough for me because I'm not all that particular about the exactness of that pre-spray. We cut it in half anyways, use soft water, agitation. It's not that crucial to be so dead on. There's spare tips. I'm kind of wondering why I found all these spare parts. Why one of these things, which sits in there behind this brass pipe, one is brass and one is some kind of hard plastic. Basically, it just goes in there. I mean, it's basically just a spacer, but wonder why one from the other. It could be one's from Sal's sprayer, which that's this, and one is from a real Hydroforce. This says Hydroforce on it. This doesn't. So that's probably the answer. One's a knockoff. Inside there, that little brass piece, that's what's called the water nozzle, and apparently that's the biggest wear component. Another thing you got to be concerned about. Let's see if I can get this off by hand. 1 second. Okay, so pull that cap off, and you can see a little ball bearing in there. That bearing sits on a little replaceable O-ring that when that O-ring corrodes, and it will, water will leak by, and actually if you set the jug down, it'll refill itself because you're not closing off that channel. The back pressure will get it. So I can get that thing out of there. There. You can see that little, boy, that sucks. There it is. You can see the O-ring, and it's actually held in place by a little plastic washer that's on top of it, which is not really viewable. With that thing off, you can also see the spring that's in there. That spring needs to be kept kind of stretched out. It'll compress over time. And you'll also get, geez, I've seen everything in there from hair and carpet fiber and whatnot. So every once in a while I'll take a dental pick and pull that little spring out of there and stretch it out so it sits right flush with that top. And then you put your ball bearing on there. Make sure there's a lot of movement. I was having problems with one getting stuck in there the other day with all these corrosive chemicals that we use. It's pretty common for it to stick. You put that on there and you take your draw hose, stick it on, and use the smallest diameter hose clamp to hold that on there, because all that swishing in the bucket, sometimes they can fall off. I usually use a larger or a longer hose so that it Goes into the far corner of the 7-quart, which is much flatter, bigger, wider sprayer than this little thing, which I won't use. I'd go through this in 2 bedrooms. I've even gone, as these things age, they stiffen up from sitting in the chemical. And I'll put a nut or something, kind of weigh it so it sits at the bottom versus curling up and you're always sucking air. Anyways, if any of you know why these come in 2 different materials other than cost savings, I'd be kind of interested, but I don't think they're all that functional. What really matters most is keeping the little rubber O-ring in there in good shape and watching the wear on that. See if we can see light. There, you see it. I think as that thing enlarges over time or gets plugged with chemicals, that's the biggest thing that goes bad with these. So the little clear washer, the O-ring, the length and tightness of the spring, and believe it or not, this little ring right here kind of seals off the cap, and it's kind of important. It hisses and farts a lot if you don't have that. And there's supposed to be another flat, clear sort of washer seal under here that keeps liquid from coming out that little tiny hole right there. It's a breather. So this thing is missing a part. Let's see if it's under this one. No, it's different design. I had nothing but problems with this thing. So that's been relegated to part scrap. Anyhow, there you go.